everyone. We are from group number 18. There are three members in our group. My name is Trần Thị Hải Yến. The second member is Miss Đỗ Phương Anh. And the last member is Miss Phùng Phương Mai. Today, we will introduce the topic Developing Listening Skill for English Teachers. In this topic, the content will be introduced is number 1, integrating the 4 skills. Number 2, what makes listening difficult. Number 3, the strategies for listening skills. Number 4, we will introduce micro skills and macro skill for listening. And the last one, we will demonstrate the demo activities for listening skills. So first one, I will introduce the integrating the 4 skills. Before that, I will identify the difference between hearing and listening. As you know, hearing is a physical process. It is simply the act of perceiving sound by the ears, and hearing occurs with or without consent. Besides, listening is a physical and mental process. It is an action where you choose to actively concentrate on what you hear, and in listening, your brain processes the information into knowledge. So that listening is not the same as hearing, and hearing is not the same as listening. And next one, I will introduce some definitions. So first one, listening is the process of receiving, constructing meaning from, and responding to spoken or nonverbal messages. To hear something with thoughtful attention. Listening skills are other ways to help you listen something more effectively. And you know, all language users perform the acts of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The 4 skills are rarely, if ever, encountered as discrete skills, inseparable from the other. So we integrate the 4 skills in learning language. So first one, listening frequently implies speaking, and in academic context, possibly note-taking. Speaking virtually always implies a listener, and writing and reading are shared obvious links, and the interconnections go on. In language class, the following instances of integrations can be often occurred. The first one, a pre-reading discussions of a topic to activate the schemator, followed by either a reading or writing task, so you can integrate reading and writing skill. And next one, listening to a spoken lecture or monologue, accompanied by note-taking and followed by discussions. So here, the learner can integrate the listening skill and speaking skill. The last one, writing a response to a reading process. This means you can integrate writing and reading skill in learning language. According to Brown, he gave some advantages of integrating skills. So first one, productions and receptions are 2 sides of the same coin. It means that the learner can get the productive and receptions need of integrating skill. And second one, interactions involve sending and receiving messages. Number 3, by attending primarily to what learner can do with language, we can invite any or all of the 4 skills that relevant into the classroom. And number 4, one skill will often reinforce another. It means when you use one skill, the other skills will be improved. And the last one, most of our natural language performance intense connections between language and the way we think and feel and act. It means you use language with 4 skill to show your feeling, show your actions, and what you think. And the second one, I will tell you what makes listening difficult. According to Brown, he gives some things make listening skill difficult. So first one is clustering. The second is redundancies. Number 3, we have reduced form. Number 4 is performance variables. Number 5 is colloquial language. Number 6, rate of delivery. Number 7, the things that make listening difficult is stress, rhythm, and intonation when someone speaks. And the last one is interactions, when someone speaks and you listen. So here, let's go to the first thing that makes listening difficult. It is clustering. In spoken language, due to memory limitations and our predispositions for chunking or clustering, we break down speech into smaller groups of words. So learners need to repeatedly attempt to appropriate chunk of language like chunking phrases, clauses, and constituents. And the second things that make listening difficult is redundancies. So speaking language has a good deal of redundancies. There are ways like repetitions, rephrasing, and typical of unrehearsed spoken language. For example, you can hear in the speaking, they say, you know, I mean. It means redundancies help the hearer to process meaning by offering the time or extra information. And the next thing that make listening difficult is reduced form. The understanding of reduced forms that may not have been a part of English learners' past experiences in class, where only formal textbook language has been presented. So the reductions can be the phonological. For example, for the question, did you eat yet? Someone will say, do you eat yet? Right? The very fast and the short, right? And the next one is morphological. Instead of say the full form here, I will say the short form, I'll. Number 3, we have the syntactic. I have the question, when will you be back? And the other answer just straight the information about the time, tomorrow, maybe. And the last one is the pragmatic. For example, when a phone rings in a house, a child answers and yells to another room to call his mom in the house. And he said, Mom, phone. He just focused on the person have the phone. It means, Mom, you have a phone or you have a call. And the next one, number 4, we have the performance variables. This means you have some activities or some, here you have is hesitation, false starts, pauses, or self-corrections. For example, in some speaking, you can see someone say, I also to go, right? He get the hesitations. Or when you have another example, you have some pause to think. For example, you know you're playing well. Right. And number 5, you have colloquial language. This means in speaking, you use the colloquial language in real life context. For example, the idioms, slang, reduced form, and share cultural knowledge. And the next one, number 6, we have the rate of delivery. Learners need to be able to keep up with the speed of delivery and processing automatically as the speaker continues in a listening. And number 7, that make listening difficult is stress, rhythm, and intonations in a listening, so the learner correctly understand the prosodic elements of spoken language, which is almost always much more difficult than understanding the phonological bits and the pieces in a listening. And the last one that makes listening difficult is interactions. The conversations is especially subject to all the rules of interactions, like the negotiations, clarifications, attending signals, turn taking, and topic nominations, maintenance, and terminations. Right. So I've introduced the integrating 4 skills and the things that makes listening difficult. And next one, the next content, Miss Phương Anh and Miss Phương Mai will show you. Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Phương Anh, and today I'm gonna introduce to you the teaching listening skill principles. There are 7 principles that I'm gonna mention today. The first one is to include a focus on listening in an integrated skills course. So in the curriculum, each of the separate skills deserves special focus in an appropriate doses. The oral comprehension itself cannot be overtly observed, so the input provided in the classroom is sometimes incorrectly assumed to be converted into learners' long-term competence. So that the deep attention is the requirement to all the principles of listening. Secondly, use techniques that are stimulating and motivating, because background knowledge, the background information is an important factor in listening. So the experiences, goals, and abilities of students need taken into account. So that teacher should apply the techniques that appeal to students' personal interests and goals. Principle number 3 is to utilize authentic language and context. So the authentic materials and real-world tasks enable students to see the relevance of classroom activity to their long-term communicative goals. So the natural texts such as conversations, media broadcast, story, speeches will give students ready to dive into the activity. So in principle number 4, we should include the pre, while, post-listening techniques into the lesson. So the effective lessons have been found to include three major stages. The first stage is schematic activating process, as known as the pre-listening stage. It helps the learner to prepare for listening by checking the vocabulary, ascertaining background knowledge that essentially for understanding or gaining a hint of what the topic is. The second part is while listening is when student is given something to do while they are listening, such as taking notes, filling in the charts, listening to main ideas. And the last part of the lesson is the post-listening activity. In this stage, you can give students some exercises like vocabulary or grammar check, extensions of the context of listening passage to other related content. Principle number 5 is carefully consider the form of listeners' responses. So we can only infer that certain things have been comprehended through students' overt responses to speech. So Lund in 1990 offered 9 different ways that we can check listeners' comprehension. The first one is doing, is when the listener responds physically to a command. By choosing, when the listener selects from the alternatives such as picture, objects, and text. Transferring is when the listener draw a picture of what they have heard. Answering is when the listener answers questions about the message. Condensing is the listener outlines or take notes on the lecture. By extending is when the listener provides an ending to a story heard. Duplicating is when the listener translates the message into the native language or repeats it verbally. Modeling is when the listener orders a meal, for example, after listening to a model order. And the last one is conversing, when the listener engages in a conversation that indicates appropriate processing of information. And principle number 6 mention the encourage the development of listening strategy. So most foreign language students are simply not aware of how to listen. So as a result, teachers' job is to equip them with listening strategy that extend beyond the classroom. So below is some of the strategies. The first one is to look for the keyword. The second one is to look for nonverbal cue to meaning. Number 3 is predicting a speaker's purpose by the context of the spoken discourse. Associating information with one's existing cognitive structure. Guessing at meanings, seeking clarification, listening for general gist, various test-taking strategy for listening comprehension. And the last principle is to include both bottom-up and top-down listening techniques. Here, bottom-up techniques is a text-based where the listeners use linguistic knowledge to understand the information. It assumes that listening is a process of decoding the sounds that one hears in an linear fashion, from the smallest meaningful unit to complete texts. In these techniques, student needs to break the language into components part and give them central focus. And for the top-down techniques, it is listener-based. So the listeners use prior knowledge of the context and situation within which the listening takes place to make sense of what he or she hears. So it relies on the background knowledge of the topic, the listening context, the text types, and the language and interpret the idea he has listened. And it concerned with the activation of schemata, deriving meaning, global understanding, interpretation of the text. And here is some of the technique of the exercise that top-down techniques can be applied. So the first one is listening for the main idea. The second one is predicting. The third one is drawing inference. And the last one is summarizing. So you can see here some of the exercise of top-down strategy, such as summarizing, put events, pictures in order, guess the main idea of the listening tape, and identify the topic of the listening tapes. So this is some of the exercise of top-down strategies you can apply in your listening lesson. And you can apply some exercise about answering the questions. About bottom-up techniques, you is to concentrate on specific details while listening and recognize what's order pattern. And some of the exercise of bottom-up strategy is fill in the blank, complete the sentences, multiple choice, find mistakes, fill in the table, complete a dialogue, and label the map or diagram. So that is the end of my presentation about the principles of teaching listening skill. And now Miss Mai will give you some demo on the activities that you can apply some techniques in listening lesson.
Hello everyone, my name is Phương Mai. Now I will do a demo teaching activity for listening skill. Our listening activity today is about daily routines. Now I will start my demo teaching. Hello class. Now we will do a warm-up by playing a game on Kahoot. Can you click the link on chat box? Thank you. Okay. First, what daily routine is it? Thank you. Wait a minute. Next, what daily routine is it? What is it? Okay, the last one. What is it? Net friend, meet friends. Meet friend or meet friends. Thank you. Thank you everyone to join the game. Okay. So now, what topic do you think our lesson today will be? Yes, it's about daily routine. Can you annotate on the screen the daily routine, all the daily routines that you know? Can you annotate it? Can you write it on the screen? Okay. Thank you. So maybe get up. Yes. Yes. Brush your teeth. Good. Yes. Wash your face. Wash your face. Yes. Have shower. Have lunch. We have lunch, have breakfast. And for the evening, we have dinner. Nice. We have go to school, right? Go to school. Okay, thank you for all of your answers. Before listening, can you neighbor the name of these daily activities below? How about the first picture? What is it? What activity is it? Yes, have dinner. How about the second one? Yes, go swimming. Third one? Yes, hang out with friends or meet friends. Nice. The fourth is go to school. The fifth is get up. The sixth, yes, have breakfast. And the last one, have lunch. Thank you. Okay, before listening, can you predict the order of the daily routines below? Can you predict it? What will going to be first? What is going to be first? What is going to be second? What is going to be third? Yes, maybe get up will be going to be first. So can you write the order on your book? You have 2 minutes to do it. You have 2 minutes to do it. Thank you. So now listen and fill the gaps with the correct activities to complete Dan's diary. Please pay attention to the time of the activities. What activities happen at 5 a.m.? What activity happens at 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m., and 7 p.m. Now, listen the first one. Listen the first time. Now, listen the first time.
Hello, Dan.
Hi.
Can you tell me about a typical day in your life for the school magazine?
Yeah, sure.
So, what time do you get up?
Oh, I get up very early. I get up every day at 5 o'clock and go to the pool. Then I swim from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
You get up at 5 o'clock. Wow, that's early.
Yeah. Then at 8 o'clock, I have a shower, I get dressed and have breakfast. I have a big breakfast. Cereals, toast, bacon and eggs and orange juice.
What do you do after breakfast?
At 11 o'clock, I go to university. I'm studying sports science and I have classes from 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock.
When do you have lunch?
I have lunch at about 2 o'clock at the university.
What do you do after classes?
Sometimes I go to the gym and sometimes I meet my friends at a cafe.
What time do you have dinner?
I have dinner at 7 o'clock. Then I watch TV or go online and I usually go to bed at 10 o'clock.
Thanks, Dan. That's a busy day.
Okay, it's the end of listening. So, can you tell me the answer for the first one? What activity happened at 5 a.m.? Yes, it get up. How about 6 a.m.? Go swimming. 8 a.m.? What activities happens at 8 a.m.? Have breakfast. 11 a.m.? Yes, go to school. 2 p.m. Have lunch at 5 p.m. Meet friends at 7 p.m. Have dinner. Thank you. Now, please listen the second time and put the tick on the right column. What sentence is true and what sentence is false? Now let's look at the sentences first. The first one is Dan gets up early. 2. He has a small breakfast. 3. He is a student. 4. Dan has lunch at home. 5. He goes swimming after classes. 6. Dan watches TV or goes on the internet before bed. Okay, now we will go to the second time of listening.
Hello, Dan.
Hi.
Can you tell me about a typical day in your life for the school magazine?
Yeah, sure.
So, what time do you get up?
Oh, I get up very early. I get up every day at 5 o'clock and go to the pool. Then I swim from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
You get up at 5 o'clock. Wow, that's early.
Yeah. Then at 8 o'clock, I have a shower, I get dressed, and have breakfast. I have a big breakfast. Cereals, toast, bacon and eggs, and orange juice.
What do you do after breakfast?
At 11 o'clock, I go to university. I'm studying sports science, and I have classes from 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock.
When do you have lunch?
I have lunch at about 2 o'clock at the university.
What do you do after classes?
Sometimes I go to the gym, and sometimes I meet my friends at the cafe.
What time do you have dinner?
I have dinner at 7 o'clock. Then I watch TV or go online, and I usually go to bed at 10 o'clock.
Thanks, Dan. That's a busy day.
This recording
Okay. Now let's check it. Okay. Now let's check the answer. The first one, the first sentence is true or false? Yes, it's true. The second, he has a small breakfast. Is it true or false? Yes, it's false. Where's the mistake? He has a small breakfast. Yes. He's not have a small breakfast. He has a big breakfast, right? Next, he's a student. Yes, he is a student. Okay. Dan have lunch at home? Yes. No. Will Dan have lunch? Yes. He have lunch at a school. What type of school does Dan study? Yeah. He study at university. Yes. University, right? Next, he goes swimming after classes. Yes, it's false. What does he do after classes? Yes, he not swim. He meets friends, right? The last one, Dan watches TV or goes on the internet before bed. Is right or wrong? Yes, it's right. True. Now work in pair. Each group will have 2 students. Please interview your partner about their daily routine. What do they do every day? And then I will call some students to tell your class about your friends' daily routines. Thank you. So you have 5 minutes to interview. And then I will call some students. Thank you. So now is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your listening and paying attention.